Hi, John Healy here from the World Employment Confederation with our Staffing Insight series, joined by John Nurthen from Staffing Industry Analysts. Welcome, John.
Yeah, hi, good to see you.
All right, so we've got a tall task here. We've got 15 minutes to talk about all the tech that's reshaping the staffing industry. And I guess where this comes from is at our World Employment Conference in Brussels back at the end of March. Adam Pode was great to join us on stage and talk about some of the things that he saw, along with Barry Matthews from Open Assembly. And one of the things that Adam brought up was a report that you guys were in the process of publishing at the time called The Impact of Emerging Technology on Staffing. And I found it to be an extremely interesting read, John, because you took a posture of addressing the impact of the emerging technology, not only on the delivery of staffing services, but also on the demand side of things. So as much as everyone's out there talking about ChatGPT, okay, and we know that that's a generative AI is a big item that's out there right now. There's a lot more that's impacting the industry. So you want to hit on a couple of the things or maybe give some highlights from the report to get the audience thinking.
Yeah, well, as you say, we did focus on that double whammy that's going to impact staffing firms, because it's going to impact the way that they deliver their services, their internal processes. But as you mentioned, it's also impacting the job market around them as different types of jobs get automated. So within the report, we took a very high level view of lots of different technologies. So there was a few aims that we were trying to address. One was to get people to think about other sorts of technology other than AI and other than generative AI and other than ChatGPT, which of course seems to be the dominant conversation at the moment. So, I mean, that's all good. AI is hugely important, and ChatGPT has raised everybody's awareness about the potential impact. But what was interesting as we've been researching AI, we break it down into 4 different flavors. So it's machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and generative AI. And the research that we did in terms of what's going to cause the biggest impact in the future, generative AI is at the bottom of that list. And I'm sort of confident on the answer because we asked ChatGPT to rank them. And according to ChatGPT, generative AI is the least impactful. Machine learning is really the workhorse of AI. That's where a lot of the disruption has already happened. And it's where we believe that most disruption is going to happen in the future. So machine learning is the sort of gold standard of AI. These other aspects of AI like deep learning, natural language processing, and generative AI, these are neat add-ons which sort of give more capability to AI. So
don't you think, John, that the natural language processing it's why ChatGPT or GPT has taken off so much is because of the simplicity of use. To me, this is one of those items where we kind of have a breakthrough of a product that it's easy for me to use because I am just using natural language. I'm talking to it. I'm typing in my own words what I need. And for me, that's been the bigger breakthrough as opposed to the underlying technology that's in there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tool. What's worrying is the fact that it's only just really being launched, and everybody can see what huge potential it has. I mean, there's still some drawbacks. Obviously, ChatGPT, they stopped programming it a couple of years ago, so you don't get up-to-date information. As a researcher, one of the drawbacks we see as well is that it doesn't give any sources. So you just have to take on faith what it says. There are other products out there that do give sources, but there's a bunch of new technology that's appeared on the market. It's all new, it's all untested. So for any staffing firm out there that's thinking about how they might use generative AI, probably the best advice I could give you at the moment is just sit back a little bit and see how things shape up, because these tools look exciting. And I think everybody understands that we do need to move quite quickly with this, because if you don't, your competitors will.
Absolutely.
but there is a danger of moving too quickly because some of these tools, generative AI isn't perfect. Anybody that's used ChatGPT will know that at the same time it's very clever and very stupid. So you can see the flaws in it. So it's still got some way to improve, I would say.
So when I think about this tech, I tend to break it into two different kind of impact points. One is value transfer. So when I think of a lot of the automated platforms, okay, we've gone from an analog staffing process to a digitized staffing process. The values just move from one place to another, but it's the same process and the same net impact that's coming out for people. The other is value destruction, candidly, where something is completely being broken out. Are there products, or are there problems, maybe rather than the product, are there business problems that you see being solved most aggressively right now? Is it more about that internal operating efficiency that people are chasing, or is it about that business transformation that you see making the biggest impact from your research?
Yeah, I think it's both, because on the one hand, you've got staffing firms that are automating their processes, and they're finding ways to improve candidate matching, automating all those repetitive tasks and freeing up the consultants to do more useful and really use their human skills. And one of the things that I think is interesting about this automation trend is, of course, things will get automated and there'll be improvements and process efficiencies. But at the same time, the more that stuff gets automated, the more that people will value those and cherish those human skills as well. So you can have both those things happening at the same time. So you've got that process going on within staffing firms, and then at the extreme end, you've got those staffing firms that are building platform businesses where that they are pretty much none of them are free of human intervention. It's a bit of a myth, but that they are much more automated services where clients and candidates can contact each other, and candidates can get selected to do assignments directly by the client without the intervention of a consultant. So yeah, that's happening at the same time. And is that destruction or is it adding value? It's doing both. I think those platform businesses, that certainly it is replacing traditional staffing services. We can see that that's happened in healthcare staffing in the US in particular, where there's been a huge explosion in the use of platform delivery of staffing services. But at the same time, it's adding value as well. That a lot of these platforms are able to attract workers who might not necessarily be going to a staffing firm via the traditional route. A lot of people are preferring to work remotely. A lot of people have family responsibilities and other responsibilities who might not necessarily walk into a staffing firm. And these platform models tend to specialize more in remote work. So, it's opening up work to a broader group of people as well.
Yeah, we've got 50 plus countries now who have immigration policies built around digital nomads, where they're strictly trying to create jobs that will encourage people to come into a market or to physically stay in a market and take remote work, but keep the tax base and just the economic base, keep the GDP flowing within a given geography.
Yeah, and tell me, I mean, and I know the WEC is interested in the ethical aspects of AI as well, and you've done some work on that.
Yeah, that was an important one. As we came together as an industry, we bring a group together with the Digitalisation Task Force every other month, and candidly have made it open to everyone, including non-members, to come into it. And we focus on three different areas. One is that ethical use of AI, where we came up with a set of 10 principles to really make sure as an industry we got out in front of things, because a lot of what we do at the WEC is associated with advocacy and advocating for healthy labor markets, making sure we're out there. And we knew AI was going to be one of those topics that people were going to be hitting on. And we just want to make sure that we're making statements as a collective membership that there are good things that can be done and there are bad things that can be done, and we want to follow those principles. But we also see blockchain with verified credentials and the explosion of digital wallets as an important area, and we see the platforms as another that we spend a lot of time on. The part that jumps to me, John, is trust. When I think of the whole process of connecting people with work, we have a lot of slowdown that happens. We have a lot of people that need work and a lot of companies that need productivity. But then we have this process, once the match has taken place, that to me is centered around a lack of trust. You've shown me a set of credentials, but I don't necessarily believe them, or I need to verify them. We need to interview.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you're a cultural fit. I need to make sure you're a technical fit. And so when I look at a lot of the tech, what I'm really hunting for is who is spending time improving the trust basis in that process, because that's what can speed up that opportunity for individuals, the productivity for organizations, the reduction of social welfare for governments and communities. So that's kind of the North Star that I tend to look for in a lot of this tech. Is there anything that really jumps out to you that you really push for when you look at something and say that's going to make a difference?
Well, you just touched upon blockchain, so that seems to fit squarely into what you've just said. And we have been interested in blockchain for a number of years. We started to research it before the pandemic, and then we sort of left it alone while the pandemic played out. And then we wrote a brand new report that was just published last week. And what was interesting was how not too much had changed, in that it hadn't really developed to the extent that you would have hoped blockchain to have developed, because everybody sort of saw the potential. But at the same time, there was a lot of these early credentialing platforms that have just gone out of business. So new players on the market, a lot more credentialing firms using blockchain, but a lot that went out of business as well. So it's funny really with blockchain, because it's a technology where you can use it to create that trust, but it's inherently a technology that everybody is a little bit wary about because of the whole cryptocurrency connection, and the fact that maybe people find it difficult to understand as well. So I think it has huge potential, and so I do believe that this credentialing piece will begin to become more and more important, because it empowers the candidates. It puts them in charge of their own credentials. It means that staffing firms, employers, other intermediaries can avoid duplicating the same mundane processes where they just go through that same background checking. We can be confident in what the CV says, that the qualifications are what the person say they have. And it should speed things up as well. So there's huge amounts of benefits. And I know so the WC, you've got your own sort of collaboration, and you're participating with the Velocity Network
Foundation. Yeah, we actually just had the member meeting yesterday, and impressed, as they've now got 3 different companies that are issuing wallets on their protocol, adding one in that is a Spanish language wallet, which I think starts getting into these unique nuances of each different country is going to have some things that are important for what they do. So to me, that's one where it's got to be an ecosystem play, and it certainly does make the adoption one that requires more cooperation and collaboration versus personal control. And I think that's gotten in the way with a lot of things. So I'm not sure that we've got time to go into everything that you and I would like to, but what I want to do, John, is one, thanks staffing industry analysts, and thank you and Adam for your engagement with us. I encourage everyone to go to staffingindustry.com and download the report, The Impact of Emerging Technology on Staffing. The folks at SIA have made this a report available to everyone for free. Which is unique. You guys produce some really good quality data. And I think you're saying something to people, not only the importance of this, but come take a look at the quality of work that we do. And hopefully that'll drive some added membership to your organization. We think you guys do a lot of really good work, and it's why you've been a valued partner to the World Employment Confederation for a long period of time.
Well,
So
likewise, John, we value that partnership with the WEC for sure.
very, very good. So I want to thank you, and we look forward to staying in touch. Encourage everyone to engage. If you are interested in the Task Force on Digitalization at the World Employment Confederation, please feel free to reach out to me directly via LinkedIn or to the World Employment Confederation offices, and we'll make sure to get you guys connected. John, thanks, and we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you.